All right, friends, welcome back to another episode of the Overshare Hour. How are we doing today, Kenzie?
We're doing good. It's a Saturday, right? I was like, is it Sunday? It's a Saturday. We are doing something new this week.
I
So,
know we're very excited about it. Do you
yeah.
want to tell them what we're doing?
Yeah. So, we're batch recording for the first time ever because we're trying to get aligned on a better schedule, y'all. Okay. We're trying to just like feel really good about our lives and like take care of ourselves and not be recording every week, which takes up, I don't know. Anyway, we're just trying a new thing. Okay. So we're trying a couple of new things. We're batch recording these episodes and we asked you guys how you felt about our Reddit episodes. Okay. And you responded with love. We love them. And
So
so
much love.
we
I was surprised.
also, yeah, we also love them. We think they're super fun. So we're trying a new thing this month where we're going to have Reddit stories as part of every episode this month. So every
Along with our
episode,
normal advice.
yeah, every episode we're going to do our advice, then we'll like sprinkle in some Reddit and then we'll do our overshare. And then if you guys love it, that's great. And if you hate it, then we'll just like do something different. But that's
The
what we're
next batch
trying.
will be different.
Yeah. Yeah. So trial run, let us know how you feel. And we're excited to test it out because we freaking enjoy. Like every time we do Reddit stories, we have so much fun. So
I
yeah,
know. And the
I'm
stories are
excited.
crazy. So I
That's why
am
it's so
very
fun.
I know. I'm genuinely having such a good time and I love Reddit podcasts. So, yeah. But of course, we are staying true to our advice. You guys have some amazing submissions today. My jaw was on the floor
Yes.
with the
Hmm.
first one. So, can I go ahead and read it to you, Kenzie?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Oh, also, we are not therapists. We haven't reminded you in a while. So,
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this last time. We haven't told you guys that. And so in case you forgot,
because we
you
give
know.
therapy energy. Okay. All right. Ready for the first one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I was talking to a close friend who works as a social media consultant about possibly starting to post online. I didn't reach out for a formal session. We were just catching up, and I mentioned it in a conversation. She got really enthusiastic and started to give me tips, ideas, and encouragement. She walked me through what platforms I should use, how often to post, and what type of content might work for me. It honestly felt just like a supportive friend hyping me up. And at the end of the conversation, she ended up asking me to Venmo her $150 for a consulting fee. I was shocked because I didn't realize this was a paid session. She said, she just said that she's trying to put up boundaries and value her expertise and not give away her labor for free anymore. I feel awkward and conflicted. I respect her work, but I also feel really weird about being charged when I thought that we were just talking as friends. Should I just pay it or is this not okay?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So pop off queen. Yes, you should absolutely value your expertise and your time. However, that is insane. That's like if I actually was a therapist, like that was my job and I like went to school for that. And then you and I go to coffee and I like tell you what I think about your life. And then I'm like, that'll be $150
This felt like a therapy
for the
session, so you
hour.
have to give me money.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Now, if you had gone to her and been like, hey, I want some, consulting on social media, can we have a chat? And then she's like, sure, like this is a business thing. I know it's weird with friends, but I'm a big proponent of like paying your friends for their work, right? Like my cousin, she does hair for a living. Like I pay her when she cuts my hair, right? She doesn't do it for free. So I think that that's important to do that. But you have to know ahead of time that you are in a business meeting and not having coffee with your friend or like hanging out at your friend's house. So yeah, that's insane. And I would definitely not be paying.
Yeah, that's so hard. I feel like I would be so taken aback if I feel like I'm just having a normal conversation with somebody and talking to
Hmm.
them and feeling like they're really supporting me and hyping me up. And I agree that we should pay our friends. So, for example, my friend, she did our wedding photos and she did it for a lot cheaper than she needed
Yes.
to, so she did give me a discount, but of course we still paid her a reasonable amount to do it. And she ended up doing some video clips for us as well. And I paid her extra for the video clips because I do think it's important to pay your friends, and the only time when I feel like it's fine to not pay your friends is if you guys are exchanging services. So, for example, if someone's a photographer and someone cuts hair, it could be like, let's swap services. Um, but to have just a normal conversation, I'm trying to picture if I was in a conversation with you guys and be like, and you asked me to Venmo you. Ooh, I'm trying to think like before I got into social media because for a while you were doing that, Ken's
Huh?
right. You were
Yeah.
like a social media consultant. Um,
Yeah.
I would have paid you. But
If
but it's
okay.
outrageous. But
Yeah.
I would have probably.
But if I was just talking to you, okay, so when I was doing social media work, I did have a lot of people that would contact me. Like I had family members who would just like call me on a Saturday morning and be like, "Hey, can we talk about my social media?" I that did get annoying. Like I didn't ever ask them for money, but I was like, you can't just like call me and talk to me for an hour about social media because this is my job and like this is what I do, right? So I never got to the point of setting the boundary, but what you do isn't to say, "Hey, send me $100 or send me Venmo me for my time." It's the first step I think is being like, "Hey, just so you know, this is what I do for a living and so I can't just take calls all the time, for free. So if you do want to have a meeting, I'm super happy to sit down with you, but it's going to be as a service, not just as like a chat because I'm getting to the point and you can even just be honest, like I'm getting to the point where I have so many people calling me. I'm just doing my job on the weekends too. And I need to like find work-life balance. And this feels like work to me. I think that's fair. Like it's fair to ask for that, but both people need to know what's happening.
Absolutely. You can't hit someone with a bill when they didn't know. And I remember at one point you had put up boundaries with a mutual friend of ours because I think they were paying you for social media consulting, but they weren't paying you that much. But wasn't she blowing up your phone constantly about this thing? And it it was more work than what you typically would have charged for that low of a fee. So I do think that there is communication that needs to happen in a friendship. And I think that it's fair on the second conversation, like before you get into it, say, hey, just to let you know, like if we're going to continue to talk about this, then I would probably need to charge for, because this is what I do for my work. But an initial conversation with just two besties dreaming, because really that's what it is, like daydreaming about their goals. And you're sitting there thinking, my friend cares about me. And they're viewing it as a transactional monetary thing. So, if I were this person, okay, so if I'm you, uh, I would just be very honest and say that it kind of like hurts my feelings that I thought that it was one thing and it wasn't that, and I just wish it had been communicated to me in advance that this is how you were viewing it, and that we both need to agree upon not only the fact that this is a paid type of consultation, but also the amount, because I feel like that's just professional. If she's going to go about it in a professional sense, she doesn't want it to be a just friends thing, then she also has to take that step to be professional and tell you how much it costs. Because even if you were okay with paying it, what if you were only okay with paying 75? For her to set the bar at 150 for this conversation, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. So I would just communicate to her those feelings.
I totally agree because also you would have to know the cost going into a meeting with anybody. You would never sit down with someone and then them just send you a bill and you had no idea how much you were paying. No one can do that, right? So, yeah, I think it's a good point that you made that she has to be professional if she's seeing it as a professional conversation. Yeah, I agree. But I would not pay. I would say, "Hey, thank you so much for letting me know how you viewed this." Like I would say like I'm hurt, my feelings are hurt. I thought we were just talking. I do value you though. And I encourage you to set your boundaries and I, respect that. Next time if I'm looking for advice, like you let me know how much you charge and I can decide if that's something that I can do and I won't bring it up again if I can't. But for this time because I didn't know, I'm not going to be able to pay you. that fee. Like, I don't have $150 to give, to be completely honest. So, yeah.
And this is
That's
where it shows that I'm
crazy.
I have bad boundaries, guys. I'm working on it. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and if this was actually me, if I'm being 100% honest, and if it was Mackenzie that sent me this bill, I'd probably say, "Can I send you 75? But I would really appreciate to be told in advance."
Yeah.
And just say that didn't feel good. But I feel like I would pay, which probably just shows
I
that
know you
I'm
would.
too much of a people pleaser. But it's also
Well,
because I value our friendship so much that I would try to, like, meet you in the middle a bit, but I would still communicate that's not okay. You can't just do that.
I know you say all the time that you're a people pleaser, and I know that you are a people pleaser the same way that I am, but I don't view you as like someone that can just be walked all over. I really don't. I think you are really good at boundaries. You are also, I think, what a big um like trait, like personality trait that you have is you're very conscientious. So more than being a people pleaser, you want to do the right thing. And so I feel like your battle is less like anxiety of if you're going to hurt this person and more like I want to make sure that I'm good and I've done the right thing. And I could be wrong. I'm not telling you how
Ooh,
you are.
no, that's so true. You're right, because maybe it's not so much about the people pleasing. I think it is more so that I want to be fair and I want to feel like I did the right thing. I have this very big justice streak in me, so I'm very kind of this is right and this is wrong, and I'm just that type of personality. And I was thinking about this the other day, with everything going on with Sean Bowles and Bethel, and I was thinking about, the maid of honor situation and everything. And I was thinking, I've become the biggest pain in these two people's sides, because I just don't let things go if there's injustice. Like, I'm a very justice driven person and I very much care about doing the right thing. And when it came to the investigation into the theft with the maid of honor situation, I mean, boy, did I not let that go. I tracked down different, like, I became a detective and I went to Lowe's and said, "Hi, can I have the receipts?" Like, I will not let this go until I had a binder of proof, because I wanted to make sure that I was right. I wanted to make sure that I had something to, like, back that up. So and then just with the Sean Bull situation, I've been, very tenacious and getting that information out there. So I do think that there's this thing in me where I want to do the right thing. It's one of the biggest personality traits that I have. So yeah, I think that probably is what would drive me paying like half, because
Yeah.
a part of me would want to value fairness, and like trying to meet them in the middle. But are you required to pay this $150? Absolutely not. You are well within your right to not, and to express your boundaries and how, hey, if this is a business meeting, that should have been communicated.
Yeah. Totally. And also, I love that about you, GB. That's one of my favorite things about you. Yeah. It's also something that my oldest daughter got from you. She is also very conscientious. And so I think about you a lot and see you in her. And I love that. I tell her all the time, I'm like, you're just like your aunt. And that was like, that's a beautiful thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's cool to be cautious. It's cool to think about things. It means that you care. And I think that's important. Yeah.
That's the best compliment. Thank you, Kenzie.
Yeah. I love you.
Love you. Are we ready for the next one?
Yeah. So this one starts off by saying it's a doozy, and it really is. Okay. So buckle up. All right, it says, "Hi, Jubi and Kenzie. Hello. I have a doozy for you today. This is a very complicated family situation, and I've been putting off taking action for years. Any advice you can give will be much appreciated. My parents are in their 70s and have no retirement plan. They have always struggled financially and never put away money for retirement, and they don't have life insurance. Here is the complicated part. My dad inherited a very big and valuable house from his biological mother. My dad was adopted by his aunt at 3 years old due to violence from my grandmother's severe postpartum depression. My biological grandmother, my biological grandmother had 4 children. She was able to keep all of them except my father. This was always a huge wound for him, something that he never healed from. He grew up knowing who his biological family was, but without being part of their family. My biological parents left land to all of her children and left their house to my dad. The trouble is, one of my biological brothers has been living in the house that my dad inherited since my grandmother's death almost 10 years ago. This brother had his own land and lost it due to poor financial decisions. This must be why he is staying in my dad's inherited house. At this point, he could probably get squatter's rights for having lived there so long and paid the property taxes all this time. My dad didn't say anything to him for years until about a year ago. He managed to get my uncle to agree to pay 500 of rent each month for a house that could easily go for $2,000 of monthly rent. He tried to sell the house to his brother, but he couldn't afford it. My father's other two biological siblings have passed away, so there is no one to stand up for my dad. My mom is beside herself. She has begged and pleaded with my dad to talk to my uncle and sell the house, but he just won't do it. My parents are very evangelical Christian, and my dad has always been the head of the house, always having the final word and never listening to my mom. As of right now, my dad is 72 years old and still working full time in construction. Every time I see him, he has a new injury of some sort and looks more frail every day. My parents have a lot of debt, no medical insurance, no life insurance, and no plan for funerals, etc. My mom knows that if my dad dies, she is fucked. Her name is not on the deed of the house, and when my dad passes away, we know that she won't be able to claim it. She has begged my dad to add her name to the deed ASAP, and he told her that they will think about it. My sister and I have talked about trying to have an intervention with my dad, but we all know that he will not take it well. He's never liked being called out by any of his children, much less the women. I told my mom we want to have an intervention, and she told me she doesn't want us to do that because it will be awful. She told me she wants him to decide to do this for her. That breaks my heart. My mom has been waiting for my dad to take care of her in this way for 50 years. I'm so angry at my dad. How could he do this to her? How could he be so irresponsible with his assets and refuse to make sure my mom will be taken care of if anything happens? What do you recommend I do?
My gosh. I see why you're writing in. That is a doozy. And honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to think about what I would do in this situation. And hopefully, as we talk, Kenzie, we can try to come up with some good
Yeah, I
advice, you
know.
know? Um, it's so frustrating that he's not even willing to put her on the deed of the house. That's something that I don't really understand. And I'm curious if he's explained it because it sounds like from here that he's not really explaining why. He's just saying that he'll think about it. And I don't understand why he wouldn't want to protect his wife and make sure that she would be okay. It also sounds like there's a bit of sexism going on in there because you said that he doesn't really like criticism, especially from women. So here are just some things I'm spitballing, and this advice might surprise you guys. But you said that he's very evangelical and he doesn't like talking to women. I'm wondering if they go to church, and if they do, could you reach out to his pastor? Because I actually think that there is a biblical basis for him providing for his wife, loving his wife like Christ loved the church. If that is the belief system that he is under, he is not doing that. He's not following through on that. He's not taking care of her the way that he should be. And things I can attest firsthand. I've seen this happen in my family when somebody passes away and things not be done correctly as far as the estate and funeral. It's such a nightmare. It's such a nightmare to go through that. Even when people try to get their ducks aligned before they pass, sometimes things slip through the cracks and it is a nightmare. And we have found that in my family with bank accounts. Like, I think my dad has been trying to file taxes on behalf of my grandparents who have since passed, and they won't even let him into the bank accounts. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm the executor of the state. I'm supposed to have access to this, but they say no because it's under a business and he's not on the business. And it's just crazy. You know, it's so difficult to try to navigate these things after people have passed away. So your dad should be trying to make sure that your mom is okay. And honestly, my heart breaks for your dad too, because what you describe here is that he's still working. I think you said he's 72 and he's getting injured. Construction at his age, gosh, I can't even imagine. And it's very sad that this is the way his choices have taken him, and obviously you wish that he could retire and relax and enjoy this time, but yeah, he's just made a lot of choices. So I think my advice, practical advice, would be to try to get a man involved. I hate that that's my advice, because
It's good advice.
it's so patriarchal, it's so sexist. But it sounds like he doesn't respect women. And there are people like that. I mean, there are so many men, especially in these evangelical circles, that think, "Oh, you women are just and I wonder if him not wanting to put your mom on the deed of the house is part of that too, you know? It's kinda like, "Well, this is man's business. Property is man's business," and women couldn't have a bank account for the longest time. So, I'm wondering if there's just some underlying sexism against your mom that's lingering there. So, I would either try to get a male family member involved if there's an uncle or if there's just anybody that he respects, or even if he has a good friend that he respects, and see if you can get them on the same page. But like I said, I think a pastor, that would be great. I know some of the men in my family who are extremely evangelical, they really listen to pastors. You can tell them something 100 times and they'll be like, "You're being dramatic." And then a pastor says it and they're like, "Okay," because because they understand. And I think the issue is he doesn't want to take advice from anybody who he views as lower than him. And,
Exactly.
and
Bingo.
that's how it works in these circles is they say, it's God, men, women, children,
Yep.
So yeah, he's like, "What, my kids, the one that I raised, I helped them ride a bike, they're gonna tell me what to do?" That's probably how he's viewing it, and yeah, he should. He should listen to
Yeah.
you and let you tell him what to do. So, that would be my advice, to try to get a man involved. As far as an intervention, I know your mom, yeah, this is what I want your advice on, Kenzie. Your mom doesn't want an intervention to happen because she says that would be awful, okay? Unfortunately, her future is going to be awful if this is not worked out, because what is the game plan? And unfortunately, the game plan is probably you guys. I mean, or maybe that's what he's thinking, is he's just thinking, well, y'all will figure that out later, but that's so unfair. So if he could, one great step would be for him to raise the rent on this guy who's living in this house for $500. That would be great. Or to at least sign over the deed to the house so that she has that and that she's protected. Um, yeah, but I don't know. What do you think, Kenzie?
I think what's really sad is the dynamic between the parents because the dad is obviously living in evangelical, patriarchal society in his mind. The mom just wants her husband to choose her. Like it even says, I don't want you guys to have this intervention because I want him to make the choice to do this for me. Like she doesn't want people to force his hand and him resent her. She wants him to love her well enough to do this out of the love in his heart. And so I just see this like inner child in her, this like little girl who's like just wanting to be loved and has spent her entire life with this person who I'm sure loves her in his own way to the best of his ability. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't care about this woman, but people, when they're so stuck in their ways, men specifically, especially older men who grew up, you know, even in these times when women had very little rights and were basically property to their husbands, he loves her as much as he like knows how and as much as his nervous system can love, but she wants more, and that's very fair. She deserves more. But I think that conversation maybe is something that you might need to have with her of, we know that you want dad to choose this. He's proven over the last 50 years, unfortunately, that he's not capable of making that choice right now. And we can't force his hand necessarily, but you have to do what's best for you. So, like, I would talk to a lawyer and see what rights she has as his wife to his assets, because I don't know anything about this, but I'm wondering, like, is it legal for him to just say, you can't have any access to our property when they've been married for 50 years? I don't know. Like, if they were to get a divorce, uh, like now, hypothetically, would she have no rights to that
No, I think
property.
she would. So I think that that's what's confusing is
Yeah.
maybe just putting her name on the deed makes it easier? Because I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure she has some rights if he
because
were
she's
to
married to
pass.
him.
Yeah. So I'm not
So
really sure.
or is it not that way? Like, does your spouse have to be in your will? Like, I thought that when you got married, like, it's your property unless you have
I know,
a
I'm like, "Do we sound dumb?" But that's what I thought too. I
I know,
thought
unless
it
you
goes
have a
to your wife.
prenup, and then that's the legal document that separates the property. You have to have a legal document in place to say that these things legally do not belong to you, and that's why people have prenups so that they don't have to share their assets when they get if they get divorced. So I feel like she has more rights than she knows that she has. I don't know. I would do research. I would talk to a lawyer, get a free consult with a lawyer and tell them what is happening and say, "My dad is stubborn. He will not make these moves. What legal rights does she have to this property? What can she do and what can we do as her children to help protect her in the case of him passing and her being left with nothing? Like, what legal protections does she have as his wife?" Because it seems to me like we're operating in this conversation. Again, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, am I stupid? Like, I don't know. But we're operating this conversation as if like he can just decide nothing belongs to her because he's the husband. But legally, that's not the case. She has rights to things. I just don't know what they are. So I would talk to a lawyer if I were you and just say, this is the situation. How do we protect her? And then set up those protections. I feel terrible for your mom. I feel horrible that she loves your dad and just wants him to choose her. And also, this is about protection over her. You can't make him do something he's not ever going to do. So step in now, talk to a lawyer and see what she can set up for herself, and what y'all can get set up for her. Because I feel like there's no way that he could just pass and nothing would be left to her. But I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I would do. I love the pastor advice too. In order to like hopefully sway his mind, that's the perfect advice. Talk to the pastor of their church, and hopefully he's also not a 72-year-old man who believes the same things.
I feel like most pastors would understand the idea of protecting your wife.
Yeah, most
Maybe
would.
that's me being gullible. Okay, yeah, there are some pretty horrible pastors out there, but there's some very kind-hearted people out there as well. I feel like any pastor at any church my family went to growing up would say, "Hey, you need to love your wife as Christ loved the church." And as far as the intervention thing, yeah, I would have to think a little bit more on what my advice would be about that. I think that my advice is not to do nothing. I do think
Yeah.
that stuff has to happen, whether that be bringing somebody into this situation or having the intervention. Maybe your mom shouldn't be present at the intervention if she thinks it would be that horrible and she doesn't want to be a part of it. And then it would also help lessen the anger, like, towards her, because what if he's really annoyed that she was a part of this thing, at least that way it can be like, "No, us kids and other people wanted to have a conversation with you." There's also the idea, and you know your dad better than us, the idea of writing a letter. I mean, if you know that he wouldn't read it, maybe that's not the way to go, but if I were to write a letter and if I felt like maybe he would read it and maybe that's the better way to go about it rather than him feeling cornered at an intervention. Um, Whether or not you are a Christian or believe that, what I would do if I were to write a letter would be to write a biblical letter. Whether or not I believe in that or not, I would say, this is what the Bible wants us to do. This is what God intends for women, for them to be protected. And we just want to make sure that mom is okay. And I would include Bible verses. Like, this is, if
Yeah.
I'm being strategic, this is what I would do. Because if you're really trying to get through to him, I think just telling him, "You're so wrong," without catering to the things that he cares about probably isn't going to get you that far. So that's typically what I try to do when I talk to talk to people who are extremely evangelical. I do try to come at it from their perspective because I know that it can get through to them a bit easier if I'm coming at it from that lens.
I totally agree. Yeah, but I would say before you have in my opinion, before you have the intervention, because it does feel to me like maybe the least likely thing to get through to him, because when people's defenses are up, they can't hear you. So he's going to feel attacked and then it's just going to be a pushback, it seems like. So I would say Juby's advice of pastor first, I feel like that's brilliant, and lawyer. Pastor and lawyer, and see if pastor can get through to dad, and while that's in the works, see what legal protections your mom has just because she's married to him.
Good advice. Okay.
Okay, so you guys, first time doing this, we are going to do our Reddit stories now. So, Juby, do you want to start us off with our first Reddit?
Okay, this is coming from the r/advice subreddit, which is very fitting for our advice podcast. So the title is Just Realized My Boyfriend I've been dating for 2 years might be a flat earther.
Oh, big news. Okay,
Can you imagine?
tell me more.
Okay. I don't even know how to start this. I'm pretty shocked at the conversation that I just had. My boyfriend has been sending me reels showing a theory where the earth is encapsulated in an ice wall and is a tiny part of a greater earth and land that we don't have access to. He also informed me that the earth does not rotate and the sun is actually revolving around us. I've known him for 2 years and he sometimes has brought up conspiracies, but not anything like this. I have a science degree and tried to explain him about gravitational pulls, and he said that is what quote unquote they want us to believe. I feel like I'm being punked. How have I gone this long without ever knowing this crazy belief that he has? This has to be a deal breaker, right?
Oh, babe, I am marrying a conspiracy theorist. So, like, oh yeah, Luca loves his fucking conspiracies. It's ridiculous. Babe, I love you. Um, he will come home and be like, I watched this thing on TikTok, and I'm like, okay, no, he'll be like, I heard this, and then he like tells me this whole thing, and I'm like, where did you hear it? And he gets quiet, and I'm like, what are your resources? Where did you get this information? And he's like, I'm like, because was it from TikTok? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, exactly. So anyway, it's funny though because I can let it go, and it's not a deal breaker for me because it's never like no, I really believe this, right? Like it's not like he really believes it, but he loves his conspiracy theories. If I was this girl and I was a scientist and I was in a long-term relationship with someone who really believed that, I would have a really hard time. It would feel like a misalignment for me, like on so many levels. And I feel like that's a valid deal breaker. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, to me, oh, that would be such a deal breaker because I think
Yeah.
it would give me the ick.
The ick. Exactly. I'd be like,
The
oh,
ick. I feel like, oh,
yeah.
and I would be concerned about the level of intelligence or just
Yes.
being able to think about things clearly and their ability to sort through misinformation, especially if you try to tell him and it just goes back to that's what they want you to believe. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I would get the
Hey,
ick. Who is they? You know, the big bad people
the
who want us
they.
to think that. Oh, me personally, I don't
Yeah.
know, guys. I think that that would be a deal breaker because no, no. And then I would be so on the edge of my seat concerned that he would bring that up at like family gatherings or parties
Yeah.
someday.
Or teach it to your children if you had children together.
I know. No, that's not my thing. That's hard though. 2 years. Can you imagine
I
going 2 years
know.
and not knowing
And then
that he
having
thinks
to
something
break
else?
up when you're like, I freaking love this person, but he's a flat earther. What do you say to people? Like, oh, what happened? And you're like, he's a flat earther. I like that's the end of the relationship.
I know it's so hard, especially if everything else is good. I mean, I guess I can't
Yeah.
tell them what to do, you know? It
Yeah.
just I mean, if he's great in all these other ways, you know, more power to you. If he's not hurting anybody, I would just
Yeah.
I feel like the only way you could stay with him is if you agree that you are going to teach your future children that the earth is not flat, because I wouldn't
Yeah.
be passing on those beliefs to anybody else. Um, and just asking yourself if you could live with that. But I feel like as somebody who has a
Mhm.
science degree, that would be hard.
That would be really hard. Yeah.
Very hard.
And
Mhm.
also, it's not just like the one thing, it's the well, what does that mean about this person? That's what I would be feeling. Exactly. Yeah. So that's a lot. Sorry that happened.
Do you
Okay.
want to hear the top comment?
Yeah, I would love to.
This person said, yes, anybody that gullible and quite frankly stupid is not somebody that I would have a relationship with. How would it work in your future if, God forbid, you had children together and he insists on listening to internet crackpots instead of doctors? And
Yeah.
yeah, that had a lot of upvotes. So yeah, you weren't the only one thinking about the future kids, Kenzie.
Yeah. Think
Oh
about
my
the
gosh.
children.
This person said, don't do it. I married a stupid man once and it was a disaster. No. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard.
No, I deal breaker. Definitely. Yeah. Also for him too, like he needs to go find someone who he can like geek out on like flat earther stuff. That totally. Yeah, he needs to go find someone that aligns with him too. Okay. Are you ready for mine? This is from the r/2 hot takes subreddit.
Shout out to Two Hot
And
Takes. It's a great podcast.
yeah, love you guys. Um, it says, my boyfriend thinks I should take accountability for my sexual assault. I think he's a victim blamer. You ready? So this says, I broke up with my boyfriend because we've had multiple conversations about this and he refuses to back down. He begged me for another chance and I said yes, but I took my apartment key back and said he's not allowed to come over again until the trust is rebuilt. I also asked him to do some research into the law, stories, and advocacy literature around sexual violence so that he can at least understand what he's saying. The most recent time I experienced sexual assault was when I was a sex worker. There have been other times as well with people I trusted and with strangers. He argues that in all cases, especially in the context of sex work, I am at least partially accountable for what happened. He says it is simply not true that in all cases of sexual assault, the victim is 100% free from fault. He says it was manipulative and controlling of me to give him an ultimatum, asking that he abandons his own logic and truth or else we break up. He also says it's all just so that he will agree with my feelings so that I can avoid accountability for what I've done. He thinks it's necessary for me to accept it so that I can truly heal and forgive myself. I explained to him that this is not true. I simply don't want to be with someone who holds my traumatic experiences against me, blames me for something someone else did, and decides for me how I should feel about my own past. In my opinion, he is so obsessed with being right, he's willing to sacrifice me and my healing on the altar of his logical, moral framework. No mention of the fact that I've done multiple courses of intense therapy, gone through a period of voluntary celibacy, completely given up sex work, prioritized my health and spirituality, and built a whole new, beautiful life for myself, all before I even met him. And yet, I guess it's still not enough. Is there some weight to what he is saying, or is he just a victim blamer? We are pursuing counseling to work this out, but I would love help.
Throw the whole man away. Throw the whole man in the trash. Disgusting. I'm
Yeah.
fuming. Wow, he hates women. Hates
He
them.
hates women.
Did I hear that right? Where he said every woman plays some part in
In
what
every
happens?
case.
Every Okay, we're also talking about children. Does he understand that there are children who have been abused? Not to mention just women in general don't have things to do with their sexual assaults, even if they're adults. But I'm just trying to think bare minimum what this idiot is saying. Okay. Um, no, throw him away. Don't go to counseling with him. Disgusting. And I wanted to say when she was saying towards the end, I did all of this. I quit sex work. I've done therapy. I went through a season of celibacy all before I met him. Okay, even if you were still doing all of those things, you were still a sex worker. If you hadn't healed, if you hadn't done the celibacy thing, you were still sexually assaulted. And that's still true. So that pisses me off. I'm like, you didn't have to do A, B, and C, and D for your story of being a victim of sexual assault to be valid. Um, yeah, disgusting. Don't like this man. Think he's horrible. And unfortunately, that is such a common thought that people have that women have some part to play in what has happened to them. And I will tell you, I'm not going to get into details of me as a child, but I'm sorry, children are abused and they have nothing to do with what has happened to them. And you hear plenty of stories of people being full grown adults and also being sexually assaulted, and they have 0.0000000, and that's it, uh, to do with what happened to them. And for somebody to be able to make a blanket statement like that, it shows me that he has no empathy and does not like women. And you deserve all of the support, and the fact that I wonder why she believes that she's even deserving of this treatment. I don't know if, you know, who she's been around in the past that might make her think, is there any validity to this? It really breaks my heart because absolutely not. Absolutely not. Any normal person, anybody who has a heart and morals would know that what he is saying is trash.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I felt bad for her too because she at the end, she's literally asking, like, "Is there any weight to what he's saying? Like, should I be more self-reflective about this?" And is telling Reddit that she's done all of this work almost as a justification or, like, to make it like, it's apologetic. The tone is, like, apologizing for her past, and there's like, I wish that this was advice and that she was listening to this podcast so that we could just tell her, like, "There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong." Because I, am a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, as is, like, every woman I've ever known. Um,
I
and
I've met one person in my life that's a girl who hasn't. I mean, that
yeah,
one. I out of
mhm,
all of the people in
literally.
my circle, I can't think of more than one person that isn't.
Yep. And I have, you know, like, repeat experiences, and it wasn't like one time. And this one guy, this one time I dated a piece of shit. And he or I was in an experience where I was sexually assaulted, harassed by someone that I knew, and I was in a relationship at the time. So I like am a fawner. So this is another thing, is this guy is out of touch and uninformed about everything. This guy that she's this boyfriend. And there's multiple trauma responses. There's flight, fight, and fawn. I'm a fawner. I always have been my whole life, okay? Because I was sexually assaulted also as a child. And so that is my response to sexual assault, is to like literally dead fish it. Like that's how it is. So this guy came on to me. I was using my fight, like digging deep to use my fight and say, no, 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 like that's not a thing. Um, and it was repeated, like he was really trying, really trying. And so eventually I was just like, okay, mwah. I literally like kissed him on the lips and I was like, mwah, there, is that good enough? I was like, is this good enough? Like, can you leave me alone now? And I like that was a horrible experience. The next day I told my boyfriend that everything that happened, right? And he initially was like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you. Let me like talk to this guy." And this guy, he confessed. Okay, so like my boyfriend like talked to him. He's someone that I knew, so he talked to him. They had coffee. He cried. This guy cried and was like, "I'm sorry I did this to her. Like my mom didn't raise me this way." It was this whole thing. Okay. Months later, my boyfriend at the time decided, I guess, like he was mad at me about something, contacted this guy again and was like, "You know what? It's just never sat well with me, and like I wanted to hear your side of the story. Like, did she like lead you on? And like did she give you any reason to believe that like this was okay?" And the guy's like, "Well, yeah, she did." So he got my whole family involved. He was telling everyone like, she made up the story and it was actually like not what she said it was. It was a whole thing. And I stayed with this guy. I stayed with this motherfucker. And literally, he blamed me the rest of our relationship, saying that I cheated on him for a sexual assault experience that I had. And I just like, men like this do not deserve relationships with women. Like, they hate them, and you just should not. I don't know. It makes me so mad. And I think that men don't actually care enough and about what women go through. But I just feel like men are like in this boys club. they say that women don't take accountability for the part that they play because they feel attacked by the amount of times that women are sexually assaulted, and they're really the ones that don't wanna have to take accountability for their actions. So, I can't believe she's still with him, and I feel really bad for her because she's not done anything wrong, and
That's so horrific. My gosh, I'm so sorry that happened, Kenzie. And the fact that that guy, he knew that he had
do you
done
remember
something
that?
wrong, vaguely.
Okay.
The fact that that guy knew that he had done something wrong and said, "My mom didn't raise me to be this way," and
Mhm.
then, like, he took full accountability for it, and
Yeah.
then somebody gives him a foothold and says, well, maybe it wasn't your fault. Do you wanna tell me why it might be her fault?" "Oh, yeah, well, I'll tell you why it was her fault," so that's just so disgusting, and, yeah, I hope that that girl got a lot of good advice. That is a great subreddit, so I'm pretty sure lots of people would have told her that that guy is trash. Alrighty, are you ready to jump into our overshare moment?
Okay, I have one. So, guys, can't wait to share this information with you. I went to an audition, and then I went to a callback, and I found out yesterday that I got cast in the leading role in a play.
What? Why didn't you tell me, Kenzie? That's
'Cause I'm telling you
crazy.
now. 'Cause I'm telling you
Oh
now.
my gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so it's a staged reading, so it's if people don't know things about theater, I didn't even know that this was a thing that people did. So, basically, this new production company, they're actually not new, they started in 2020, but then be or started in 2017, but then they had to pause because of COVID, um, and then the woman who started this production company with her husband had some health stuff come up as well, and so they put a pause on everything, and then now in 2026, they're rebooting it. It's called the Surround Project, and I did something with them. The first play that they ever did with their production company in 2017, I did with them. And now they're, like, rebooting it with a whole new rebrand, new vibe. It's really beautiful, the work that they do, and it's about I think I've talked about it a little bit on here. It's about, like, bringing the community into the theater and giving, like, a more transparent, like, community feel to theater so that people who aren't necessarily typical theater goers can have, like, a new, fresh experience of theater and feel like, kinda like breaking the fourth wall and, like, making it, like, meaningful to everybody and for everybody and not just for theater people, and so they're choosing, like, really interesting stories that are very poignant and timely and, um, create an environment where the audience can interact with the story in different ways. So, this is a staged reading, which means, like, I will have to have the play memorized pretty much, but I also can have the script with me on the stage. Everyone will have the script with them, and it's going to be, like, lightly staged. So we're only gonna have 5 rehearsals. It's not typically in a, like, full-blown play, you have months of rehearsals, right? Because there's, like, costumes and lighting and blocking and all of this. So all of that is, like, really dialed down and minimal. So it's really story focused and, like, break down the whole production that brings the audience in to make it feel more like we're all in a room together having a conversation or they're like a fly in the wall in someone's life. And then afterwards, you kind of have like a talk back or you do some sort of like interactive experience with the audience to kind of bring it all together and like talk about the story and why it's meaningful. And so, yeah, I get to work with actors I've never worked with before. I did the audition with this guy or the callback with this guy that I'd never met, but is really big in the theater community in San Antonio. Apparently, I didn't know him, and so we did this callback together and read a scene together, and I was super moved by his acting. He was incredible. He's like, I was like, why are you in San Antonio, Texas, and not on Broadway or not in the movies? So I'm just excited to be able to work and learn from him and the other actors. And yeah, it's going to be in March that I get to do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Do you know when in March?
March 21st.
Okay, got it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So I have that, and then I have another callback for an actual full-blown production. at the beginning of next month, and it's just things are happening.
Yay, I'm so excited for you, Kenzie. That's
Thanks.
amazing.
I'm
And that was
excited
on
too.
your vision board, your goals for the year.
Literally, I have a picture on my vision board for of like a girl sitting on a stage, and I was emotional when I put it on my vision board, and now I get to sit on a stage next month. Yay. All right. Thank you. I'm so happy too. All right, your turn.
Okay, mine's quick. It's kind of a follow-up to last week's episode. You know how I was talking about Bethel and all of the insanity that's going on with the Sean Bowles sort of situation. So, just a quick little update. I've had a lot of people ask me because Bethel made this grand apology and said, this was our mistake and we should have warned people. And I mean, I've been talking about this since 2021, I think, probably is when I made my first TikTok that just mentioned this for the first time. I've had a lot of people ask me if Bethel has reached out to me, and not because I want to talk to Bethel, okay, which I'll get into in a minute, but people have asked if they've reached out just because if they're really trying to make it right, then they think they should reach out to everybody who has like been vocal about this situation and how it's harmed them. So no, they have not reached out to me, which is unsurprising because I've called them a cult like over and over and over again. Like I was on the Something Was Wrong podcast. I did 4 episodes on that, just talking about Bethel. And then I had that like 60-part series that was about Bethel being a cult. So unsurprising to me. But here is what is surprising is that I had multiple people reach out to me who are BSSM Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry students now. They are currently students there. And after Bethel made their statement, they had a Q&A session with Bill Johnson and Dan Fairley. And they were answering questions about this big mess that they had made with Sean Bowles, and they asked that nobody record it, and somebody did, and they sent me the transcript. No, they did, and they said, "Well, I don't want my name attached to it, but I did record this, and I'll type out what was said." And I know that it's true because I had another person comment on my Instagram and say the same thing, so it's definitely true. Um, Somebody stood up and asked if they have reached out to me and how they feel very bad. So my name was brought up at BSSM.
Shut up.
Yeah, to Bill Johnson. Like, hi, have you reached out to Jubilee? Just because I feel like her story is very sad and like y'all really dropped the ball with that. And I kid you not, Dan Fairley said, Chris Valton has reached out to her, but he will try again. And I swear to God, they have never reached out to me. They are such liars right now.
Whoa,
No, they
whoa,
lied
this is
to their
blowing my
students.
mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
Yeah, but we'll try again. I'm like, so I went to my Instagram, my Facebook, my
You're like,
email.
yeah, let
Let's
me see
double
what I
check.
missed.
No,
Mhm.
thing from Bethel, Bill, Dan
Jubi, do you
Fairley, Chris
think that they
Dalton.
will reach out again? Do you think that they're gonna reach out for a first time because they said they would?
I don't know, but I think I'm probably going to make a video saying that they haven't before they get the
Hell
chance to
yeah.
do it now because it's ridiculous. And I want to be clear because I was talking with Mike Winger about this because Mike Winger really has trying to advocate for the victims and everything. And he said, I would like you to think about what you would want to say to Bethel if you talk to them, that way you don't feel like steamrolled during a conversation. I told him, "Oh, wait. I think you misunderstand me. I don't want to talk to Bethel. I just think it's funny that they are saying that they have reached out to me because they're trying to make it seem like they look good. But I have no intention to talk to them because like what I said in the last episode, I feel like when you are a cult, no amount of sorries would make me feel like you are not a cult. And this is just my hot take and I'm not saying that this is 100% true. I do think that people can be deluded, so I could be off. But the way I feel is that Sean Bowles, potentially Bill Johnson, and some of these like really evil Mike Bickle, these abusers who are just truly bad people, awful, awful people. I'm like, I don't even think they think they're Christians. I think that they're atheists. Okay. Because if you
Wait, really?
I can't say all of them, but I have a sneaking suspicion, especially for Sean Bowles, because if you truly believed in God, if you truly believed in heaven and hell and all of this, you would not dare do that. Like, I think that there is some level of, wow, these people are really dumb. And like, who cares? Floating rock. We're living on a floating
Yeah.
rock and I'm going to get rich. Because if you
Yeah, power,
truly,
money,
yeah,
control.
if you truly thought that this was real and that heaven, hell, God, the fear of the Lord, all of that, you would not blatantly make up prophetic words ever, because the Bible
Yeah.
says that false prophets are like so damned to hell, or like, well, it doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Okay, but it does say that they'll be judged like extremely harshly. So the worst of the worst. So I have this conspiracy theory in the back of my mind, like the Mike Bickles of the world, the people who are using prophecy to sexually abuse women. I'm like, I think you guys are atheists and you guys,
What about Todd White?
I think that guy has lost his marbles. Possibly him. I know Mike Winger is taking him down right now. And I told him your funny water bottle story.
You did?
I did. I was like, I know. And if you got, I think we might have mentioned this somewhere, or maybe Kenzie
Yeah.
mentioned it on Heeledish. But Kenzie, do you want to tell this real quick? The
Yeah,
water.
sure. Yeah, so if you guys don't know who Todd White is, go look him up. He is a miracle worker and he grows people's legs out on the side of the street.
Stop it.
Um Just go watch his videos.
He
We
was
don't even
looking.
need to explain. Yeah, we don't even need to explain. He's just another one of the guys that people are obsessed with, and then they follow him, and he's actually turns out to just be like not great.
And he tells people to stop taking their medication and to fast for 40
Yes.
days and they'll be
No,
healed of cancer. He's
yeah,
killing
he
people.
literally said that he believes that medication like is wrong
Yeah.
and that
Demonic.
like that pharmaceuticals are from the devil. Yeah, he actually said that. It's insane. But yeah, I was obsessed with him. He was like part of the like yeah, but also like my story of becoming charismatic and believing in miracles and all of that. He really was a cornerstone for me. So I looked up to him and I worked in this cult organization where he was going to be speaking at an event and I got to be his chauffeur for the event and like drive him around or whatever and the honor and he um had a long laundry list of things that like he could have or couldn't have and wanted and one of them was he only drank Fiji water. So as his like his chauffeur, I had to just go to all of the gas stations and grocery stores in the city that I was living in to try to find freaking Fiji water, and we couldn't find there was no Fiji water anywhere. And so then we bought him I remember specifically that he was like, "Okay, well, the team messaged him and we're like, we're so sorry, sir. There's no Fiji water in the city." And he's like, "I guess anything else like essential water will do." And so there's like this essential or essentia or something type expensive other pH mineral whatever water. So we bought that for him and stocked the car with this freaking water. And I was so excited to meet him. I thought he was going to be very kind and warm and like Jesus y. He was such a turd. He was literally so rude. And we got him in the car. He sat in the front seat and literally was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Looked straight ahead, didn't said no words to us, like did not even speak to us, got out of the car. I was like, "Can I get a picture?" He's like, "Okay." Stands for the picture, smiles, never another word. Like this guy was absolutely awful. He showed no kindness, didn't ever speak to us about you know God, Jesus, nothing. I was thinking he was going to be like speaking prophecy over me and showering me with miracles like he does with when the cameras were on the side of the street. I'm telling you right now, when the cameras are off this guy, he didn't even look us in the eye. Like I didn't even get eye contact from him. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, that's why I sent it to Mike Winger, because it was a really long video, so I only watched maybe the first 30 minutes, but in that 30 minutes, it said that his ministry had tried to talk to him and say, "Listen, can we not do first class flights from ministry funds, at least domestically? Like, we'll still do it when you go to like Africa, but like for these 2-hour flights, can we not do first class?" And he was like, "No, it's essential for my sleep." He's like a diva, like a prima donna, like horrible, horrible person. So that's why I sent it to Mike Winger, because I was like, hey, just wanted to let you know that that totally tracks, because
Yeah.
he needed Fiji water. So that's my
And then was
overshare.
rude. Yeah.
So rude.
That's
So,
crazy.
so these people,
That's crazy, Juby.
yeah, let me know what you guys think of my conspiracy theory that I'm not saying everyone, I do think that there are people who just fail and they believe this and they're tone deaf and they're unkind. I totally think that people can just be deluded and not good people. But some of these like very vicious, evil doing, like there's no way that they think that sexually abusing people is godly. Those sorts of people, I'm convinced they're atheists, or I'm convinced there's no way that they believe in God, because if they did, oh, and by the way, that's not to say atheists are bad. I'm saying that they just have no fear
No.
of anything,
Right.
because if you
Yes.
did, with the worldview that you have as a Christian, you would think you'd be a little scared of some judgment eventually, you know? So where's the fear, guys? I don't get it.
Interesting thought. I've never thought about that, but that does make sense. You're right. Why would they do those things? They wouldn't. Wow.
I think this went well. So hopefully you guys like it. We're going to go do it a couple more times. So
love you guys, and we'll see you. It feels weird saying see you next week for another episode of the Overshare Hour, which is like always what I say because we're going to record it now. But we will see you in 5 minutes for another episode of the Overshare Hour.
We will. All right. Talk soon. Bye.
Love you. Bye.